Gentlemen, this is Mark Tech, actually hoping to go live because apparently I fixed my OBS problem that has been haunting me for like the last 5 streams. Welcome. This is definitely a diversion after several videos of Apple because of all the iPhone event happenings in the world. Obviously, the Apple Watch, stuff like that. Also, by the way, tomorrow I'll probably be doing a live stream once I get my fine woven case and my USB-C earpods. So again, I cannot fully guarantee that, especially since I don't know obviously at what time they're going to be delivered. If I feel like it, I might pre-record the video and make it as uploaded as a regular video. But yeah, I think there will be some content about that. If not tomorrow, then on Saturday. Regardless, today we're talking about the other major topic on my channel, even though it comes up definitely way less than Apple, which is Sony PlayStation. Now, this is a state of play. This is not a showcase. This is not a PlayStation experience. There is no guarantees here. However, I am still excited. It is supposedly a primarily third-party showing. We will get more info on Helldivers 2, which I'm not a big multiplayer guy, but this is one of the few multiplayer games that really looked appealing to me during the last few showings from Sony. And beyond that, maybe Sony will put in some kind of exciting small announcement, even if it's something like for Spider-Man 2, which by now we've seen quite enough of in my opinion. But if they're bringing something new and exciting, I've already pre-ordered the digital deluxe edition, so it's not like I'll change my opinion on buying the game or not anyway. But yeah, I hope we'll get one mention of something first party. It's not something that I truly need. I've grown to accept certain limitations of what states of plays are. Don't forget that state of plays are also designed to be like marketing showcases for their partners. Like Sony has a ton of contracts with second and third party partners where they like sooner or later have to show those games. So while we as gamers and maybe even like PlayStation fans might be like a little annoyed or like skeptical as to, oh, why are we covering it this certain way, it should be noted though that there is a clear reason why Sony sometimes will have state of plays where they might not necessarily have something to show from their own first parties, right? They could have just like quarterly obligations, and so every 3 or 4 months we get a state of play regardless of what Sony's own first party games are doing. And also of course we did have the PlayStation showcase in summer. I mean, we technically still are in summer, I believe, depending on how some people count. I don't. To me, September is not summer anymore. So yeah, this is definitely state of plays, can be hit or miss. But I'm excited nonetheless to cover it, primarily because the last Sony event that I covered got marked by Apple, because after the actual event was over, we were just talking with chat and I was going through some other content and I was like bringing up an Apple ad that I liked, and because you aren't allowed to show any Apple content this way, they flagged the video. Obviously it wasn't monetized for me personally anyway, but it would have led to the demonetization of the video, which also meant that very few people saw it because the algorithm didn't recommend it, and then I ended up cutting out the stuff and re-uploading the video, which obviously also created some confusion. So I hope this stream will be far less problematic. And just as a side note to anybody who uses OBS on macOS, there is apparently a problem with the hardware encoders and decoders in OBS for M1, M2 chips. Both the H.264 and the HEVC encoders. By the way, I didn't even know that HEVC was now integrated, and this is why my stream struggled, because apparently at some point the decoder just goes haywire, even though it might happen like literally like in my last stream. After 2 hours of streaming, it suddenly decided to have problems, which also might be a problem sometimes when playing back like pre-saved media files, because pre-saved media files you can like click on if you want to like hardware decode them, and I think I usually did, which is still hilarious that it worked for 2.5 of my 3 videos that I reacted to in my last stream. So yeah, that's definitely quite a pointless introduction for most, but if anybody is like looking into getting into streaming or maybe using OBS for some other use case, and you have a Mac, please consider that. I hope it gets fixed. Maybe there's some way for me to flag that, because I assume that maybe it's only broken for like macOS Sonoma currently. Maybe there's some kind of driver level issue there. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. That has nothing to do with the state of play. But yeah, so my predictions for the state of play are currently pretty much nothing. Because Sony themselves have said that this will focus primarily on updates to already announced games. That to me is quite fascinating. Now, one of them will be Helldivers, guaranteed. They mentioned that it will be quite a like juicy like gameplay thing, which makes sense. I mean, Helldivers should be coming out in the next 2 months or so, definitely. And then beyond that, I assume that all the other stuff that they've shown over the last 2 years that still hasn't found its way into the hands of consumers. Something like Little Devil Inside. Where the hell is that game? It looked really cool, right? And I'm not somebody who like blindly praises every Sony exclusive. Today I was like, or even like yeah, like I always don't like to say like exclusive, because technically a lot of the games are console exclusive. They're still on PC. They eventually make their way to the Switch. Even like Square Enix is now bringing a lot more games to the Xbox, and a ton of games that are currently launching on console are also launching on mobile at this point. A lot of like Chinese games, gacha games, stuff like that. So especially because games have been now so optimized for the Switch, like lesser demanding titles, it's kind of cool that technically a new smartphone will actually greatly outperform what the Switch is doing, especially if there's some kind of CPU or bandwidth limitation. That's where smartphones are so far ahead of the Switch. The Switch could like help itself with like a decent GPU. Generally, definitely nothing in comparison to like the latest Snapdragon or Apple chips, but maybe if you really compare it to like the mid-range, there really isn't that much compute in like the A series phones from Samsung, for example, and also the Switch has active cooling, so that helps a little. Yeah, so regardless of how you want to see it, there definitely is a lot of potential for smartphones and tablets, and now also Macs, because they obviously share the architecture, which to anybody who has missed the iPhone event, we got like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage confirmed to come to the iPhone 15 Pro, and I assume with that also to like iPads and stuff like that, because as much as like an A17 chip might have ray tracing in like raw rasterization, and M1 and especially an M2 chip still will beat it out by a wide margin. Yeah, but that was a diversion mainly about Apple, because that's where my mindset still is. But yeah, I'm really excited, especially about potential PSVR 2 stuff. Maybe we'll get some Resident Evil 4, going back to the Apple event. and how it's been updated for PSVR 2. That's going to be very interesting. We could see something like Half-Life Alyx. I think that would be a huge boost for like the upcoming holiday sales for PSVR 2. And beyond that, I'm kind of inclined to believe that we might be getting an announcement for the PS5 so-called Slim. Like Sony still has slightly extended a lot of discounts on the regular PS5, so apparently they didn't sell through everything they had. I don't know if if it makes a lot of sense to announce a piece of hardware this way. They could still have like an event in October or November. Maybe like just a Spider-Man state of play that comes out right before the game in October, and they could be like, oh, and here is the new PlayStation, which potentially supports something like PlayStation Link out of the box, like their new audio pairing technology. Again, it's all highly speculative. It's kind of why I do like covering PlayStation. For one, I don't know it quite as well as I do Apple, but there's also less to know about, right? But of course also there's the artiste kind of like part here, which is even if Sony has like an amazing year with hardware or services, accessories, there's still, of course, the most important part, which are the games. And the games are not as like guaranteed to be high quality as like a new generation of hardware is, because yes, sure, there is some artistry in designing a new piece of hardware, but it's not definitely the same as something that has a story, voice acting, the creation of high fidelity environments, lighting, and of course the actual gameplay loop. So there's a more like an element of unpredictability that I really like about covering games, and especially in regards to PlayStation, because that's my main place to play. However, that place will have to start sharing a lot with Apple in the future. Like I will, if I can play a game on my iPhone, my iPad, my Mac, which has, by the way, more performance than my PlayStation 5 right off the gate, and I assume my next Mac would then be similarly more powerful versus a PS5 Pro. So there's a lot that could be gained here. Like once the games are intercompatible, obviously share like their cloud saves through iCloud. That is much more convenient to me than even the PlayStation. Obviously, a Mac is very expensive, but I happen to have one already, so it's not like I'll have to rush out and buy something. Also, of course, there's like just the versatility of a Mac being also like a work horse, so it's not quite the same as like having just a gaming focused console. Though I am a huge fan of PSVR 2, and I don't think that Vision Pro will get me away from that. A PS5 will be far more powerful than a base M2 chip, so that will be actually quite interesting to see what Apple's impact on VR will be. If they might potentially think of doing like some Wi-Fi 6E to 6E or Wi-Fi 7 to Wi-Fi 7 wireless communication once they launch maybe like a second generation Vision Pro or something like that. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff to consider here. I'll just briefly check on all like my live stream stuff, make sure that everything works. PlayStation. Oh yeah, that's actually interesting. Uh, like I thought for a second there might be a problem with how the website is like updated through OBS, but no, it looks to be pretty much the same no matter where I look at it. Because it is pretty much time for it to start. And yeah, my stream looks like it's working. So software encoding, for example, right now I'm using 20.7% of my M1 Max CPU, now 22%, which is compared to 4%, which is how what happens when I use hardware encoding. Yeah, definitely more intensive as a workflow, but again, I'm charging with a 100-watt charger, like a 30-watt CPU. I have no problems supplying that power that is needed. I don't know why it's not doing anything like starting, right? Because interaction with it is... Oh, okay. Okay, guys, let me know if like the audio works well for you. Like oh, it's in 5 minutes. That's actually interesting the way they... So then I can reduce the volume for now by a lot. Yeah, it seems like it's all working, and the audio should also be reaching you. Now I know that unlike last stream where we had like 10 people watching, obviously this won't be happening today. It's not an Apple stream, so PlayStation content does decently on my channel, but definitely less so, especially in terms of live engagement. But also the other point is simply that this was really unforeseen. Like, I posted this on Twitter. I went out with some friends today, had a few drinks in the end. I'm actually surprisingly clear for that, but yeah, I did not expect to be doing this stream, and I've not talked even really about it. Like, I think I mentioned it at the very end of yesterday's stream, right when like we've started having those hardware issues. So yeah, definitely not the best thing. Or software issues, to be more precise. I mean, it's called hardware encoding. What is this then supposed to call? Like, is it a software issue or a hardware issue? Also, guys, cheers. I needed to stay awake because it's now officially 11 a.m. And once the actual stream starts, you know, like concurrently with, by the way, you can see Bella, my cat over here. So, yeah, she is like a welcome addition here in the corner, the little cutie. But yeah, once the actual video starts from PlayStation, please let me know how the audio mix is doing, because I'll have to play around with audio levels a little bit. And then I hope that the stream just keeps working fine, which definitely wasn't the case yesterday, so that's why I'm a little nervous. We now have a few more people watching. That's really great. As always, please leave comments what you think is going to happen, or if you agree with certain comments from me or not. But I know some of you just like having stuff in the background running while you're doing something else, which obviously heavily depends on the time zone that you are. If you leave me in the background right now in Germany, I assume you're half asleep and basically just staying asleep to watch the state of play. And if you're in America, you might just be coming home from work or something like that. So that's really interesting when we always have people from all over the world here. We've also hit just a small like channel update. We've hit 181 subs. That number can always go down a little. I understand, like after a big event, sometimes people will join and then like rethink that, oh, maybe the channel is too small to really follow them and stuff like that. But yeah, we're definitely way over 175 at this point, which I kind of was like a small internal goal for me to have after the Apple event, and I'm really glad we reached that. So let's aim for like 200 by like the middle of the week after the next week or something like that, right? So basically like in 10 days. I think that's quite doable, especially if I'll do like unboxings and stuff like that. Well, it depends really on if I get like my iPhone next week. Hopefully I get my Apple Watch next week. I still haven't gotten an official confirmation on the order, but I got it in quite early. However, that doesn't always mean that much, because by now waiting times for the Apple Watch Ultra 2 are like 6 to 7 weeks, so that's unfortunate. Also, if you're like watching this video either right now or afterwards, please let me know if you like the size of like my face basically, or if you prefer it larger how I usually do it. It's always a weird mix. Like I think if you're doing like 8-hour like Twitch streams, I think it's kind of good if it's small, because you always have like varying levels of content up there. But yeah, for me it doesn't always make sense, because I do want to become somewhat known for making my own videos.
Ugh. Gross. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Alright. Okay. Well, yeah, that might be a problem. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm gonna leave it at 1080p, so there are no like equality issues. What is this?
Oh,
Is this
sucks.
Is this the same like the game where you go up with like a bucket of water with a hammer? Is that supposed to be like similarly difficult, like, and pointless basically, with how difficult it is?
Okay, tree.
Wait, could that be a VR game? Not actual gameplay. Well,
Mate, are you okay? You look sad.
Oh, hey, Mike. No, that's sad. I was just taking a break from my run. So the road's out.
Yeah, road's out, but no worries. Grapple point.
to anybody who's watching, please let me know if like the audio is good and stuff like
I'll
that.
just grapple. I'll grapple it.
I'll
Yeah, just
grapple
with
it.
a grappling hook.
Oh, yeah, I'll just grapple that fucker with my grappling hook.
Yeah, no worries. Just grapple that fucker.
I'll just grapple that fucker.
Yeah, good. All right. Well,
What?
Salada.
Oh, Salada.
What is going on?
Yeah, all right. I'll just pull out my grappling hook. Well, I don't know
Why
where,
is he
but-
moving like this?
Oh, this is bad. Okay, all right. Okay, there's enough here. Oh, God, oh, crap.
Yeah, it looks to be like one of those ultra difficult games. Right? Like where the controls are deliberately bad. Like what's the game called that I always play? Getting Over It, it's
Hi, I'm
called.
Sean Benson. Here at PlayStation, our team is always
This
on the
gives
lookout
off a
for
similar
creative,
vibe.
inspiring, and original games to bring to PlayStation players around the world. We are constantly canvassing game development studios as we search for the next exciting idea. And as you just saw, Baby Steps is a great example of the innovative spirit that we're looking for. In today's State of Play, we've got a wide variety of games to share with you.
Not my type
My
of game,
hope
unless
is that
it's
these
like
demonstrate
$5.
the diversity of experiences coming to PlayStation consoles and PSVR 2. On that note, I'm very excited to welcome PlayStation players to Roblox. This infinite variety of 3D immersive experiences is making the jump to PS4
I
on
wonder
October
what the
10th.
controls. Oh,
Roblox
it's
features full
PS4.
cross-platform support.
I mean, I
So you
guess
can
it
join
doesn't need
66
a
million
native
daily active
PS5
users
version.
across PC,
It feels
mobile, and
always
other
sad when
platforms.
we are talking about
We
like
can't wait for you to
PS4
explore
in
millions of experiences
2023.
together and to see what you create. All right, let's dive in. Starting with a look at two great games coming to PlayStation VR 2.
Okay. End Dreams. Okay.
Welcome to the Ghostbusters. You might be new here, but we have a job to get done. This city isn't going to save itself. So get geared up and join the team, because working together will give you the best chance.
We got this.
Luckily, you'll have access to the latest ghost-busting gadgets, if you can earn them. We're talking turrets, shields, decoys, and so much more.
Throw your trap.
Looks fun.
Light 'em up.
I'm not like I'm very much into arcadey VR games. Like something
be
with a
ready for
story really
anything.
doesn't grab me.
Before you'll be
Yeah,
ready
let's
to
see
take
how
on
like
Ghost
what the
Lord.
actual like structure of the game will be.
Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord.
Oh yeah, and these guys, mini puffs, they can be a real pain in the...
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, now we're talking, baby. One of my predictions definitely coming true.
No fucking way.
Looks good. Looks actually, it looks like higher fidelity than Resident Evil Village looked. Yeah, this looks really good for a VR game. Like, you have to understand that this is like 4K, it has to be 60 or higher FPS, right? And then it has a wide field of view. So, yeah, that's awesome. When is it exactly coming out? Coming this winter, okay. Very nice, very nice. Oh, that's probably like DLC for them.
This is Condor 1. President's daughter, Baby Eagle. It's likely she's in this village.
I'm seeing increased movement from Los Eliminados. Don't get careless.
Copy. Ada out.
What terrible actions will be done in its name, and who will pay its dark cost?
Find Lewis. Fetch me the
Oh
hammer.
yeah, I mean it's basically her story here,
Have you
right?
changed, Ada? Or are you just trying to use me again?
Because in this world, someone always pays.
There's someone who needs my help.
Best not to ask who or why.
It's what I
Separate
researched
ways
for all these
to
years,
see.
Ada. And I see the symptoms
Probably
already
coming
showing
out
in your
at
eyes.
a similar time as the VR mode. September. Oh, September 21st. Wow, that's coming out way earlier than I expected. And it's a free update to the Mercenary. Well, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, basically the Mercenaries is getting a free update, and then this is the DLC. I assume, kind of. No Man's Sky? No, Pandora.
I am not the...
Oh right, they are partnered with Ubisoft on the marketing. Yeah, well that kind of explains the state of play, doesn't it? Like they have a ton of stuff that they are basically
I was
obligated
abducted
to
by
market.
the RDA and trained in their ways. For 15 years, they kept me from my world and my people.
Wait. You have the mark. You are Sorrento. The poor child knows nothing of our ways. Let Home Tree be a refuge from your burdens.
I must seek those who can teach me the ways of the Na'vi. And help me reconnect with my world.
Okay, it looks good. I think it's made in like Ubisoft's proprietary engine, isn't it? It's not like an Unreal game. It looks good. I hope it has a decent 60 FPS mode. Oh, by the way, did they say what it's recorded on? Wait. First person stuff?
To ride like one.
I really liked the mobile Avatar game like a decade ago or so, but obviously this is much more elaborate. Oh, they have like the dinosaur hunting, like those half cages from Jurassic Park 2. That's cool. Looks Far Cry, I'm not gonna lie.
Fight on your side against the RDA.
Like, I wonder, like, obviously there's like a problem for like any kind of mech gameplay right now, if it's coming out after Armored Core 6, but it's only PS5, it's December 7th, okay, and now you can pre-order it. I think it's a $70 game, most likely.
Faster. Better equipped.
Man, everybody is like advertising Cyberpunk. No, wait, is that Ghost Runner? Yeah, that's Ghost Runner. Oh my god. They have such a fucking similar aesthetic that because we didn't like see V or something, I thought for a second that maybe they were like reviving V. It's Ghost Runner 2. I'm too bad for Ghost Runner. It's a good game though, from what I understand. I played like an hour of the original. No, that looks pretty. Unfortunately, that's not an actual game. Okay. Yeah, somebody was playing around with Blender and all kinds of like materials. Will that lead to some announcements for the DualSense? Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait, but that's not... Wait, now I'm confused. Oh, they have like a fall collection of colors, right? Yeah, that's actually pretty dope. I like that blue. I like it way more than the last blue they had. Volcanic red, cobalt blue, and whatever white it was. White. Oh, okay, yeah, PS3. They got me. They got me with excitement.
Hi, I'm Johan Pilestad, CEO
Hello.
and Creative Director at Arrowhead Game Studios.
Well,
and today I'm pleased
I'll
to
let you
share
guys
an
know
extended
in the
look
next
at
stream
Helldivers
that
2.
we had a
We're
special
starting on the
guest
ship's
right
bridge,
now.
preparing to select our
You like the
mission from galactic
dinosaurs,
warmap.
Francisca, in
Once cleared for mission engagement, it's time to go into your hellpod
in
and prepare
the
for
Avatar
Titanfall.
game. Yeah, I like them too. It's a cool design,
on one of the many
even
planets
though
in the galaxy,
the second movie
set on
kind
an
of
important
overdid
mission
it
to
a little
eliminate
bit, in my
a
opinion.
deadly bile titan.
Okay, we need to find the Terminate Bile Titan.
I think it's this way. There's some enemies here.
Okay, I'm covering you on the right.
We're covering your rear. Oh, there's loads of them. I'm switching to flamethrower.
Oh, they're trying to do like the
I died.
well, what is it called? I mean, it's just the, like the voice chat stuff during the gameplay. But nobody's calling the other the N-word, so that's totally fake.
Alright, I'm back. Can you guys take him out with the recoilless?
Yeah, I'll try to take him down from the side.
Somebody must shoot
Reload
the
my,
other person.
recoilless.
On it. I got enemies on my back as well. Oh, there's a charger here.
I'm gonna take out the brood commander.
He's charging me.
We take out the charger with the recoilless.
Alright.
Reload way.
Nice. I'm gonna thin out the crowd a little bit.
There are a lot of them coming. My guard
It's
dog is
like
taking
the
care
South
of
Park
the
gag.
little ones.
They're coming right for us. We're gonna thin out their numbers.
Oh no, you killed
I like it.
me.
I really think it looks cool. I wonder how good the actual gameplay is. I'm really curious what the price of the game is, because it is like a multiplayer game.
Okay, should we do
like
something? Should we strategize?
Will they be like ballsy like Bungie early on with how they price it? I mean, Bungie still is ballsy when it comes to pricing, but you can get into Destiny for like free at this point.
Good job, guys.
Well done, Helldivers.
By the way,
Another
sorry if
win
my
for
stream is
Super
having some hiccups. That is
After each
internet
successful
related. That is
mission,
not OBS.
Players are rewarded for their efforts. allowing them to
But
upgrade
it looks
their ship,
really good for a
weapons,
multiplayer
armor,
game.
and strategy
That's what
guides,
really happens
giving
when you
them
like
the edge in
leave
the many
behind the
battles to come.
PS4.
I hope
It's
you
not
enjoyed
just
seeing
that
glimpse
it's
of
the
just
visual
one of the many
fidelity is
missions and
high, but
planets the
like
game has to offer.
the way like the environment reacts,
go
the
out there and
lighting
spread
itself
man
is
and
good,
democracy.
which obviously you cannot do if you're still running many people on PS4. At least I think it is PS5 exclusive, right? I know it's coming to PC. Yeah, PS5 and PC. Oh, it's a 2024. Wait, is that a delay? Oh, wait, what? A pre-order? Now, yeah, the pre-order is in September. Okay. And now a small mention of Spider-Man. Basically, my prediction is going to be true, I guess.
This is Brian Intihar, Senior Creative Director at Insomniac Games. Thank you for all of your amazing feedback to our demo at the showcase earlier this year. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is filled with an amazing story and story missions. But today I'm here to provide you with a first look at how the open world experience is evolving and how the game is built to take full advantage of
I like
PlayStation
that.
5. The first thing you'll notice is that our city has nearly doubled in size with the addition of 2 iconic New York boroughs, Queens and Brooklyn. And we've introduced the web wings, an entirely new mechanic that, when combined with web swinging,
Oh my
allows you to
god,
traverse
it's
the
so
city in a whole new
fast.
way and
Oh,
at
and the
faster
fidelity, I
speeds
mean,
than
I
ever before.
guess that's like the 30
Whether it's a neighborhood
FPS
backdrop of
mode.
Queens or the fireworks that light up the sky over Coney Island,
Oh,
exploring
this
these areas will
looks
feel much
so
different than the
good.
towering skyscrapers of Manhattan, while also delivering
Oh.
memorable locales like Peter Parker's old stomping grounds in Midtown High and Miles Morales' current place of learning, Brooklyn Visions Academy.
Hey, Miles.
Nice,
what's up?
nice.
Speaking of our
So that
heroes,
adds a lot
Marvel
to
Spider-Man
the
2 will
lore.
introduce the ability to switch between the 2 wall crawlers in the open world. And thanks to
Nice,
the power of
GTA
PlayStation
5
5,
style.
you can make that switch
Oh,
almost
that
instantly.
was so fucking sexy.
Delivering a
They
bigger
know
city
it.
and playing as not
The
one,
animation
but 2
was so
Spider heroes were
smooth.
big goals for Marvel Spider-Man 2. But this time around, it was equally important to provide a greater sense of exploration and discovery. As you progress through the main story,
like co-op
a number
would be
of new activities
awesome.
and storylines will become available. The majority of those will now be represented by visual cues in the world that grab your attention, such as a flock of Kraven's Talon drones circling a building, a mysterious symbol projected into the
Nice,
sky,
they're going
or even
like
an
the Ghost
unfamiliar
of
spider bot
Tsushima
hanging from
route.
one of the rooftops. Many activities, like the hunter's cloaked blinds that overlook the Big Apple, lead to even greater challenges, yet yield worthy rewards and new information about Marvel's greatest hunter.
Is that
Kraven.
actual PS5
Others will lead
gameplay?
to a
This looks
climactic showdown with Marvel villains
disgustingly
not yet seen in
good.
the Spider-Man universe. The Spider Heroes have new AR tech in the lenses of their masks, providing a quick glimpse of activities already discovered, or helping
Nice.
locate new ones yet to be
I know
revealed.
that like
You can
Elden
always
Ring
refer
fans
to
will
the
be like,
upgraded
oh,
friendly
it's so
neighborhood Spider-Man
clever.
app
No, I
to
love
quickly
that.
track nearby areas of interest.
Show
That
me
will also
what I
include
can
incoming
do
requests from
based
those
on
who
me
call
being
Marvel's
smart
New
and
York
knowing
home.
the environment,
Some will
which
ask for
I am
either
not
Spider
like the
Hero's help,
Spider-Man, so
while
I need
others,
help.
like the students of Brooklyn Visions calling upon Miles, will require you to put on the mask of a specific hero. All these activities,
Nice, makes
including
sense.
crime to stop from the game's various enemy factions, also now feed into the new district progress system, which even provides more rewards and unlocks our brand new fast travel system. As you can see here, the PlayStation 5 and its SSD means you can move across the city with very little downtime. Finally, the more city you explore and the more activities you complete,
And they are
the
faster,
more ways you'll be able to
not
customize
just
your
with
Spider-Hero.
the web wings.
This includes mastering additional combat abilities and traversal skills, acquiring and improving gadgets, upgrading through the new suit tech system, and of course, unlocking additional spider suits. And we're talking lots and lots of suits. Marvel Spider-Man
Yeah.
2 will feature over 65 suits from the comics, movies, and
Spider-Man
multiple
and
original designs.
Spider-Man
And thanks to
Miles
the all-new suit
Morales
style
are
system,
some of
you'll
the
now
very
have more
few
than
games
200
that are
different
about
ways to outfit
platinum.
your friendly neighborhood
This will be
Spider-Man.
next.
On behalf of Insomniac Games, we couldn't be more excited about what this expanded city has to offer, and all the new ways you'll experience Marvel's New York. We look forward to seeing you swinging around in
this
Marvel
looks
Spider-Man
so
2 when it launches
good.
October 20th.
Oh, I
only
might
on
play it
PlayStation
in like
5.
40 FPS if it like really takes a big like cut down for 60, because Spider-Man has such an awesome like motion blur system. October 20th. Okay, so a month from now, a month and a week from now. I assume that's it when it comes to like PlayStation first party announcements though.
1 year has passed since the end of the great conflict between Dana and Rena.
Okay. Is it like an MMO?
So, our journey continues.
I might be really stupid and don't know something.
The gang's all here.
That's not Dragon Quest, right?
The hell she did? She's a monster!
The truth is that people will always doubt, hate, and reject.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
All differences must be erased. Once there are no differences, there will be...
Oh, it's Tales of Arise. Yeah, I guess this is why I was sort of playing around in my head with what was that visual style again, and I was like, yeah, I should have
What we
thought
call
of that.
destiny is neither visible nor tangible.
Nor is it
Yet,
destiny.
It is as certain
No,
as the
T-game.
collapsing and converging of the past and present.
Okay.
I
I'll
called
make
out
like
to you and you
15
came.
wrong guesses here.
The future is like a labyrinth. Every divergence is merely an inducement. There is only one real path.
Okay, it is turn-based combat, so it looks more like Honkai than Genshin. Oh yeah, that water attack. Yeah, that is Honkai Star Rail. I've seen it like in an Asmongold video or
Are
something.
each other's destiny.
Oh, yeah, I have no the slightest idea what they actually introduced.
I hope you're all ready for the Foam Stars Open Beta Party!
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that. Foam Stars was like really highly received when it was originally shown. Not by people watching the YouTube video, but by people actually playing it. And I was like really positive on it because I'm like, sure, why shouldn't we have Splatoon on PS5?
Game modes. Smash the star! Defeat the star player to win. Happy Bath Survival. Dominate the arena in teams of 2 with support from your allies on the outside. Eight unique characters hit the stage. Soa, Agito, Tonix, Jet Justice.
Hopefully they won't get their lore as strong as like Overwatch 2 is now like butchering the lore of their established characters.
Penguin!
Yeah, I couldn't give a fuck about like characters in a game like this. I just like fun arcadey stuff here.
Open Beta Party!
From September 29, full game available early 2024.
We've been having a blast with Foam Stars, and we can't wait for you to get your hands on it. The open beta kicks off later this month. Before we wrap up, Square Enix has one more update for us today. They're hard at work on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the ambitious follow-up to the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let's see what's in store for one of next year's most anticipated games.
Oh, and they might announce like an actual date for it, right? Like it was rumored to come out in January.
At least, that's what everyone's saying.
This sky... I don't like it.
Ready to fire, sir.
Welcome to the New World Order.
Fire!
Oh, really like Hux vibes from Star Wars Episode 7.
Planet runs out of energy. It and everything on it dies.
We can overcome our fate.
Am I the same as these monsters? Am I even human?
Okay.
Like the quality of the stream is like really high. Like, and I mean not even streaming in like 1440p.
So you heeded the call too, did you?
What are you talking about?
As you can see, your brothers down there are having a little
nice
get
chocobo.
They're our best chance.
And of course they added like a visual gag with him on a Segway.
Soldiers suffering from cellular degradation.
Do not be deceived. You know the truth. trust in me.
Sephiroth!
Feels like the story is really big in the game. Oh yeah, I should finish the freaking DLC before I play this game.
On me.
Maybe I should like replay FF7 in general.
Look!
More dancing. Okay, some fun mini games.
Excuse me. Could you look after my friend?
And
Just
he
for a bit.
lives. Now I'm really glad that I didn't play Ever Crisis, I guess? No, or a Crisis Core. They have too many crises.
Creatures.
Because if he lives, then why play it, right?
Who dares disturb my slumber? It's a
Dracula?
The reunion. When worlds merge. I'm waiting, Cloud.
Date February 29th. So a little later than expected, and on 2 freaking discs. Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that at all. I'm gonna play
We
it
hope
digitally.
you enjoyed that new look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's coming to PlayStation 5 on February 29th. And that's all for State of Play.
Wow,
Thanks
that
for
was
watching, and we'll see you next time.
surprisingly good because it didn't have a ton of crap. Okay, yeah, I pre-ordered the digital deluxe stuff with the extra suits. I have no problem giving Insomniac just a cool 100 for their games. They're so good. I play like them for like 100 hours plus. Yeah, there's no issue here. Like a Power Rangers like suit? And like a wrestler guy? Dope shit. Do they like vary his lightning powers? Like his venom powers? From like yellow to regular like blue lightning sometimes? Splatoon 2 available October 20th. Okay, yeah, that's clear. That's for the PS5. They won't mention anything about like PS5 Slim or something.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Visual Effects Artists React.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
well, you might see my Bollywood glasses here, but we're not.
Nope. Why is there like no go back button here? Sony State of Play. Just gonna let it like run a little. By the way, this is like so shit like oh my god, I cannot even like scroll through this. Oh, but I can click on PlayStation. that's nice. Good that I subscribed to them. Just gonna let it run like really quietly, and we can like basically go through it somewhat quickly again, because I actually don't have that much to say here. It was surprisingly brief and surprisingly good. And by the way, I do fully like want to get back to my original point where I said that like Sony absolutely has like contractual like agreements with certain third parties, and I'm sure that like marketing like the Avatar game, stuff like that, was a big part of why this even happened. And it also became an extra opportunity to talk about stuff like Spider-Man, so that's dope to me. Like, can I now go to like higher quality? I'll do like 1440p, right? It will not look that good to me anyway, so I'm not gonna do like any graphical like reviews here, obviously, because I'm looking at it through OBS. So this game looks not like it looks like a $5 game. It's not something that I'm interested in, baby steps. I think it was a weird way to choose to open it up. I do understand why they kind of wanted to, because they want to cover like, oh, we really help small games, because as you know, like there has been this perception of Sony and PlayStation not really caring about smaller games anymore. So this is probably like trying to fight it. I think games like Kina and Sifu go a much longer way to do that, though those games are like, especially Kina, it's like dangerously close to like a small AAA game, and even as a AA game it's like rather like good, you know. Not that AA games aren't good by themselves, but there's something about like the production value of Bridge of Spirits that's really amazing. Sifu is more of a AA game, I would say, though it is still absolutely fantastic, and the way they supported that game with like difficulty modes and some fun stuff like zero gravity and shit, really nice. Yeah, this ain't doing it for me. So she'll be talking, that's fine. Yeah, Ghostbusters VR, not really that interested in it, for the simple reason, as I said, I do prefer arcade VR games, and this looks like, you know what I mean, it looks like a more of an arcade game. But it's not particularly like movement heavy. Like I love my PSVR 2 games to make me sweat or to be somewhat immersive. This looks like an in-between that doesn't scratch either itch. What scratches the itch of being though really immersed is definitely Resident Evil 4 in VR, and I really am impressed with what they're doing graphically here. Yeah, the quality is fantastic. And yeah, the Ada DLC, by the way, I should check it out. Yeah, it's September 21st. But then like the Mercenaries, it's getting its own free update. So those are two separate things. Nobody cares about the freaking Mercenaries at this point, as far as I understand. Then is the Pandora game, which has its own set of like, you know, like glorifying like the noble savage trope. I'm really not that big of a fan of that. It's like, I think it's kind of like a lackluster interpretation of what we know of like Native American history, the actual way like those societies were capable of behaving and stuff like that. This basically reduces them a lot to like, they savage but still better than white man, right? It's James Cameron ain't the best writer when it comes to this shit. And I know he ain't writing that, but obviously he is who created the world, so that's what they're basically working with here. But as some people have pointed out, they do like the animals here.
For 15 to ride like one.
It's like, I don't know, like the visual quality to me is like, it has a little bit of a Ghost of Tsushima vibe, which Ghost of Tsushima is probably like one of the most like artistically impressive games ever created. But I will be perfectly open, even after it's like PS5 specific patch, like textures on like the ground, rocks, stuff like that, NPCs, etc. Even on the main characters, they aren't that impressive, but at least they are like passable. But there's a ton of like texture stuff in that game that really shows me two things. First, Sucker Punch was kind of a small studio when they worked on this, and it was kind of a hard thing for them to move over from the Infamous games. I would say Infamous Second Son is not really a technologically greatly inferior game to Ghost of Tsushima. like visually it looks fantastic. And yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is a far better game. It's far more impressive artistically. But like when I look at some of the animals here, they have like a similar lack of detail that I sometimes disliked about Ghost of Tsushima. It's still like a 9.5 game. That's literally the only negative that I can mention about Ghost of Tsushima. I personally love the story. I personally love the world that they create. I personally love even the characters. I don't care how many people will tell me that Jin Sakai is boring. He literally is trying to overcome that boringness. It's part of his arc. So yeah, but this, I mean, it definitely has higher fidelity by default because we are looking at a PS5 native game at this point, but it has that little bit of a problem. And the other problem is that I don't really think that they are gonna have the same kind of quality of story and character building and world building as Ghost of Tsushima. It is going to still be like a Far Cry adjacent game.
Now Pandora is under attack again.
I will not allow the RDA to destroy this land.
This is my home.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, it really doesn't appeal to me. Ghost Runner, yeah, I mean, feels kind of very indicative of what I said prior, with like, oh, they have like established like marketing contracts. I mean, this could, like, Ghost Runner 2 could have been a blog post. But it's still like, it's the sequel to a good game, so it's hard to really complain, especially with how short and like well-paced the state of play is. I'm gonna give this like a B, because I actually really like this, I think, yeah, it's like 2 events in a row that are kind of saved, quote-unquote, by Spider-Man, but nevertheless, Spider-Man is awesome. And yeah, they did cover Helldivers, but the way they did it, I don't know, like, I think I preferred like the trailer, though of course, like, yeah, gameplay matters and I'm glad to be seeing that, but I like, to me, I think at this point all FPS, I mean, it's not even a first person shooter, but to me all shooters start at some point to blend in visually, like even something like Uncharted, right? There is a big difference, like looking at how Uncharted like plays and actually playing it. Like with the smoothness of the actual animation, it really is apparent when you play it how like nimble the movements can be and how fine the individual adjustments, and especially if you like feel the controller and then you have stuff like haptic feedback at this point. This will come down to how it plays, and again, like, let me look into.
Got the Brood Commander.
He's charging me. Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty long.
super
Almost didn't like remember it that way.
Spread managed.
Wait, what did they say? When, no, Spider-Man is good, but Helldivers 2 coming to PS5 and PC on February, but they did say something about like you can pre-order on September 22nd. Okay, so you cannot pre-order it right now. I'll just very briefly, I'm not gonna open up my browser here. I just briefly want to check it out, like Helldivers, where's Helldivers? Like, I want to check it on the PS blog, what they actually say about the price, because I think that matters. So pre-order your copy of Helldivers 2. I mean, it has to cost money, right? We wouldn't be talking about like pre-orders otherwise. Like opening a new tab. Oh yeah, it's the PlayStation UK site where I can look that up. My internet is terrible, by the way, guys. This is why I'm not trying to switch away from my stream here. PlayStation.com. I'll just gonna use the American side though. Think that is gonna tell me a lot more about the pricing. Okay, yeah, I can add it to a wish list. Wait, what's the pricing? It doesn't show me. It just shows you like marketing stuff for the game. Yeah, it doesn't show the price. Helldivers 2 price. Wait, does it say on Steam how much it costs? It doesn't say that on Steam either, so we'll have to wait until September 22nd to actually find out its price. That's actually pretty interesting. Kind of leads me to believe that this might actually be like a full price game, though I will like obviously cover that later on to a degree. And then we got like Spider-Man. I don't think I really need to go through this. It just looks incredible. Get it for a whole $70. Pay $20 as extra for the digital deluxe edition. Yeah, it's very worth it. Then Tales of Arise, whatever that is in that regard. Like, I don't know if it's a sequel or anything. I don't really care. Then Hoyoverse. Sony has like really long-term like relationships with MiHoYo. So actually like having them cover a Genshin or Honkai Star Rail is not surprising whatsoever.
Visible nor tangible.
Like, I mean, Apple showed off like those games in their last event and how they're gonna get like ray tracing. So yeah, Sony definitely ain't gonna cede ground here to Apple in that regard.
In teams of 2.
Foam Stars, yeah, Foam Stars. I wanna briefly check when the actual like beta is and for how long it lasts. I really dislike it when betas like completely go off the grid, right? So you played the beta like 3 months earlier, then the game comes out 3 months later. You played like the beta for a week, nothing is the same as you were used to, stuff like that. It's if it's too short of a beta. Oh my god, no, it's a 2-day beta? Oh, they can kiss my ass with that shit. Yeah, I'm not gonna play a beta for 2 days. Like with games like that, I need like 2 days to get acquainted with it. Like maybe I like download it and literally like play it for 10 minutes, but I'm not wasting my time getting familiar with it for 2 days. Nope. Though it looks like a promising game. And it seems like we're getting a lot in the beginning of next year. Helldivers is now early next year. Foam Stars is now early next year. And obviously Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is early next year. So that's pretty interesting.
At least that's what everyone's
Yeah,
saying.
and the last was like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It looks really good. The visual fidelity is really high. Even if that's like the 30 FPS mode, I'm kind of still inclined to believe that it will still look good at 60. As long as they have a stable 60 FPS game, of course.
We hope you enjoyed that.
We know what happened with Final Fantasy 16. I mean, I've been one of the people who has said that it's not as bad as some people make it out to be. I'm playing it in like a VRR OLED, so there definitely is some help that my TV is doing for the game. Whenever it's above 48 FPS, it really doesn't struggle for me. But yeah, it does sometimes drop below 48, and ever so slightly sometimes you can like tell the difference between like 48 and 60 FPS if it's like a really drastic jump, even if it's still technically VRR. And obviously whenever it leaves the VRR window, that's when it starts getting a little iffy. And of course the visual fidelity of the 60 FPS mode, I mean, it's still impressive in comparison to most other games. It's just, I do believe in comparison to first-party Sony games, it's not as well optimized as something like Spider-Man is, or Ratchet, or God of War, or Horizon. Even though, by the way, Horizon and Horizon and God of War are obviously like cross-gen games, like they still have like a visual splendor to them that is really impressive. And we are currently seeing like Forza Motorsport being like in early like access, I would say, when it comes to people reviewing graphics or Digital Foundry mainly, and it definitely has some problems in comparison to GT7. I think it's impressive that they're bringing some RT features into the game. I don't fully understand why they have a 30 FPS mode at all. Right, I mean, yeah, they will have like ray traced, I think some global illumination or ambient occlusion in that mode, and then they will have like on a 60 FPS mode that is has no ray tracing or has like RT reflections. I assume they would like vary the visual fidelity of the reflections, and of course the dynamic resolution would be more aggressively adjusted. They don't have a 120 FPS mode like GT7. They don't have a VR mode, obviously, so there's definitely a lot of optimization happening because of like those extra features in GT7 that won't need to happen on Forza Motorsport. The environment doesn't look as detailed, and the cars don't look as detailed. It just so happens that the lighting looks better, and the lighting will sometimes make the cars look better. If you have like areas in GT7, sometimes the sun gets like so bright and it's like so 90 degrees over you that it creates like those really like almost non-existing shadows, and this makes the car look kind of artificial. It would actually happen in real life pretty similarly, but there are like small changes with how like ambient occlusion works, and of course how reflections work, where RT will help you in real world as well, of course, where this is where Forza Motorsport could have an advantage. But quite honestly, for a game that's coming out like almost 2 years, well, let's say just 1.5 years later than GT7, and it's supposedly coming to the more powerful console, I kind of expected a little more. That is slowly becoming like the mantra of Xbox games. Also, please, somebody, please teach like Xbox developers to use like VRR for like higher refresh rate modes, or for 40 FPS. Well, 40 FPS isn't VRR, but it's like for screens that support 120 Hertz, right? It uses like every third refresh. Like, please, somebody teach them. Like with Horizon and God of War, you have all those modes. I played like Horizon for the most part in like 75, 80 FPS. I played God of War in like 90, 95 FPS for the most part. If I want like true visual splendor, I can play those games in 40 FPS, and I don't have to go down to a full 30, to a low 30 to be more precise. So again, it's not shitting on Xbox, but I do think that there is something special about how Sony treats their games. This is why I have a PS5. It has nothing to do with me being blindly loyal. Like, guys, I spent like $3.5 grand on my laptop and then $1.5 grand on my tablet. Believe me, I can build myself a nice gaming PC or get myself a nice gaming laptop if I wanted to. Like, it's not like we are rich by any means, but when it comes to tech, this is where I usually spend my extra money on. So this to me is always like hilarious when people are like, oh, Sony ponies are just jealous they don't have an Xbox. No, we are not. And also not jealous of PCs either. Obviously, PCs now becoming a more important place for Sony with things like Helldivers being able to advertise during a Sony State of Play that they're coming day one to play to PC. Obviously, it's not a first-party game, but still, sometimes like what Xbox sometimes does is obviously nobody mentions the competing platform during an event. That's perfectly normal. But what Xbox will sometimes do, they will give like the developers like a 2 or 3 day embargo on like when they can, like on Twitter or on their own website, even mention that this game is actually coming to the competing platform. And sure, while Sony will not allow Xbox to be mentioned right away, the fact that Sony is mentioning PC, like Sony is not PC the way Microsoft is. So yeah, I think this industry is definitely changing to a lot more cross-platform stuff. And I think what will kill a lot of like exclusivity will eventually be mobile. Because I think we'll get to see like a lot of timed exclusivity for like Sony getting like 6 or 12-month exclusives. I think we'll see similar stuff from Microsoft, but then it's going to launch on Xbox and PC. But then I doubt that many developers will be okay with keeping games platform exclusive for longer than that, because like mobile is the largest platform. If there is a chance to bring your game to like an iPhone with a ray tracing supporting processor, there are millions of iPads out there. Macs will also become more and more important. Obviously they are pretty niche at this point, but if they can share the same code as what you're building for the iPhone and the iPad, so why not bring it to the Mac at that point? And then of course the Switch 2, which probably will have like its own timed exclusives, but also at that point you're developing like an ARM-based game, right? Sure, it's like very NVIDIA specific in many ways, but hell, then like work with Apple's game porting toolkit, and maybe Apple will even have like a nice solution for like porting DLSS to like MetalFX AI-based upscaling. So yeah, I doubt that game developers, third-party ones, will want to be stuck to any one platform, and this is why I do believe that like first-party studios are actually more important than ever if you want to keep selling like expensive hardware. Like we had a Nintendo Direct today. I thought of maybe reacting to it. I looked at it afterwards. I was so grateful I didn't react to it. There's really nothing that I'm personally excited about that isn't also coming out to other platforms. Like I'm not excited for like Super Mario, what is it, like the 1000 year door or something, right? Like the remake, remaster, whatever. Yeah, that's just not my cup of tea, man. There's plenty that I like about like some Mario games, and obviously I'm a Zelda fan in general, and I'm a big Pokemon fan. But yeah, that wasn't what was happening this time around. Yeah, and now we're also finished with PlayStation. It's been pretty much a little bit over an hour, the stream. I don't think it needs to be much longer. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We will be going back to regularly scheduled Apple programming afterwards. I hope I'll be able to do an unboxing tomorrow for my fine woven iPhone case and my USB-C earbuds. EarPods, it's called, to be more precise. But I'll let you know, of course, as always. So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please subscribe if you liked it, like it if you liked it, so leave the thumbs up, comment on it, share it with your friends, click the notification bell to be informed about future videos, follow me on Twitter, the link is in my channel description, support me on Patreon if you really want to, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Mark Tech. tuning out. Thank you so much for all your support.